Hello, my name is Yani. Welcome to my channel. This is a cross stitch channel. We talk about cross stitch. And this time I am recording this quick stitch with me video because I am waiting for my dinner to arrive. I ordered some food and I said, you know what, let's stitch a few minutes. And I wanted to also to record this video because one of the comments that I received last week was about the back of my stitching and how I do it. And I think, you know what, maybe I could show you. This project is Blackbird, Blackberry House by Plum Street Sampler. Is this one really pretty, and it's a really simple and beautiful sampler, and because I'm using solid colors instead of the fancy flosses, I can stitch this project with the Danish method, so it's easy that way to create a more clean back of your work. So yeah, I usually don't pay much attention in the back of my stitching, but sometimes I try to do it more neat and nice. So in this case, because I'm using the Danish method, you can see that the back of the work is this traditional little thingies, like vertical stitches. So in the front you got the crosses, and in the back of the piece you have all these vertical stitches. So this is how we were taught how to stitch in schools and everything, mainly because here in Mexico we use a lot of tablecloths and linen for the kitchen and napkins, and you have all these pieces where you can see the back of the piece. So we need to be really clean in the back of the piece, because for the napkins, for the tortillas, you see both sides of the piece. So that's why it's really tradition. It's really a tradition to keep this kind of backside of the stitching. But it's for it's not the same stitching a napkin, a flower or a tablecloth, where you put little motifs and more simple motifs than that. For example, if you stitch a mirabilia or a chatelaine or a heaven and earth, where you need to be using a lot of flosses, specialty stitches, metallics, beadings, beads, crystals, backstitch. So it's not the same. And sometimes, I mean, you learn how to achieve a more clean back of your piece, but according to the type of stitching or the type of piece, the level of difficulty it's bigger. So it's not always easy to have this kind of backside in the piece. So in this case, with this project in particular, it's very similar to the napkins and the table cloth motifs that we stitch, so it's easy to have a clean backside. And because again I'm using the Danish method, I start, with one leg of the cross, and then I finish, and you can achieve, the neat backside. But it's also not, it's not just the method, but you need to think in terms of how to do your crosses. For example, here you can see I stitch the roof of the house, so I start with the roof, and then before I finish this roof, I start with the outline of or the windows, and I jump just in vertical. I make the vertical stitches jumping for each window. So you can see, in order to keep my work, clean, even though they are not together, these two windows, I just jump from one to another with a vertical stitch, in the back, even though it's they are not together. So I don't know if I make some kind of sense. So when I look at the pattern, I try to find those connections, so I can be stitching, the roof, and then I jump to this window, I finish this window, I jump in vertically to the next window here, and then to this one again, and then here. So it's I don't know, it's like the experience of being stitching. You try to find those shortcuts through your stitching. And again, in this case, because there are really simple motifs and blocks of colors. Here again, I did this huge urn. First, back with this white color, and then I just fill the blanks, this space, and it was easy, and I don't have to be looking at the pattern, so it's really easy. Again, here in the house, I finish the roof, the door, and the window, and the rest of the house I don't need to be looking at the pattern. I just fill all this square or rectangle, and I try to keep doing my stitches, following this order, to keep the vertical stitches in the back. So for example, here I am doing these half crosses all the way to here, and I will complete them, and then going down and complete this, and trying to not jumping from one area to another. And it's a way of stitching that you learn and you get used to, because for example, when I'm looking work in progress, some stitchers really like to follow the pattern, exactly according to the pages of the pattern. So if the page finish here, they only stitch all this area, and then they change the page, and they stitch all this area. So for me, it's difficult to imagine that method, because I see in according to complete areas. Again, I do it also with mirabilias. I follow, for example, in in big dresses or in the tails of the mermaids, blocks of color, for example, the outline of the dress or the dark color of the dress, and then I start filling the blank space inside. So they are just different methods to work, and it's not really a better way or the right way to do it. It's just what makes you feel comfortable stitching. For example, again, I love to stitch in hand using the sewing method, putting my needle in one movement or in one move in and out. And for example, I'm stitching this in a Aida 18, and Aida, it's really easy for me at least to stitch with the sewing method, because the Aida has these squares really defined and my needle travels really easy through the fabric. And with linen, because you have to be stitching two threads, sometimes your needle get stuck in the middle of the two threads of fabric, but you get used to work according to the method you use. So yeah, I'm just complete the crosses. And if you see, I start this color here. I usually start my floss under 2 or 3 crosses, already done, or under the same crosses or the same half crosses that I'm stitching. So you can see here, I start in this top row. I put my floss under the first 3 or 4 half stitches, and I keep stitching. I start, I do this part, I then complete the crosses. I'm going to this way, all this way, and it's easy because I have to fold this area, so one way or another it's it's the same. So I start playing like Tetris, or the snake video game. Do you remember that old game in the old phones? And so I start following my snake or my trail of stitching, and the idea again is to keep putting the stitches in the vertical way in the back of the piece. So yeah, it's a game. It's not always achieved, because for example here I cross. No, they are not really cross, but they look like they are cross. But no, here, yeah, I fail because I jump to one area here again. So if I were in the school as a little girl, I needed to redo all this area because my back was not perfect. So that's why many stitchers quit stitching, because the way they taught how to stitch was really strict. So we need to be stitching really good. And that's why when I already told you that story, that sometimes when I'm stitching in the street, in a coffee shop or something, ladies came and look at my piece, and the first thing they do, they take my fabric and they turn around and they say, oh yeah, you know how to stitch, and that's it. And I say, okay, thank you. But it's, again, it's just part of the game. It's part of the of some pieces where I think, I might do it the right way, or the way my teachers taught me, but it's not the correct way. You can stitch as you want. I admire so much, all the stitchers who use these beautiful stands and these beautiful frames, and they do with the two hands method. They are stitching, and it's beautiful, and it's like a symphony of movement. And yeah, there are only different ways to achieve a common goal, that is stitching. So yeah, don't be never be ashamed of the way you stitch, because there are not wrong ways of stitching. I mean, in my humble opinion. Yeah, and sometimes I watch some pictures of stitching pieces, and even though you don't want to be judgy, you start to evaluate different stitches. And as I adore the way Russian stitchers make those perfect stitches, sometimes it's funny to see another type of pieces where the crosses are not in the same way, all for the same side, and you see a lot of mistakes. And it's okay. I mean, everybody has a particular way of stitching, and I mean, perhaps you need to be really neat and really clean and stitch according to a certain method, but most of us, we do it because we love it, and we love the fabric, and we love the colors, and we love the designs, and yeah, enjoy the process. So yeah, my food just arrived, so I'm going to have dinner. And perhaps I keep recording later, but we'll see. So yeah, this is just a quick video to say hello, to stitch a little bit with you, and sending you all my love, happy vibes and happy thoughts. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.